Tonight on Taskforce Geek, we're going to be talking about the new Dungeons & Dragons television show. We'll be talking about Clive Barker joining the production team on HBO Max. We'll also be talking about our favorite Sean Connery movies with the passing of Sean Connery. And we'll be featuring our guest, which is G.A. Lungaro, fantasy writer and comic writer. And that's all coming up now. Welcome to Task Force Geek. My name is Dirk Cooper, and today I am joined by Sean.
Yo.
And our buddy Walt.
How you doing, everyone?
And our guest, G.A. Lungaro.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Look at that sweet set he's got there. He's got the lights going on in the background. Listen to the smooth voice. It's all coming together, folks.
Yeah.
How's everyone doing today?
Doing good.
Show enough.
Show enough. Yeah.
Show enough.
Show enough.
I'm in a good mood. I mean, just made some dinner earlier, watched a little TV before we came on here. There's some big event going on, I guess, in the country right now.
I'm thinking maybe we shouldn't say it because of YouTube, because if you say it, like they'll ban you in certain countries or something. YouTube has so much, and it's not like they tell you. It's not like they send you a notice and go, hey, by the way, if you say these words, we're going to censor you and give you all kinds of trouble. But anyway, I assume that's maybe a word we shouldn't use since they're listening in.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pass on saying that word tonight. We are broadcasting live from my Facebook account, which is that right there, and from our YouTube account, which is that right there. And for the first time ever, why not? I'm broadcasting from at Dirk Cooper Plus on Twitter and Periscope, and we'll see what happens there. If you guys are watching us from any of those locations, then you can comment and ask questions to all of us. All right. I'm going to go right straight into our introduction. Maybe. All right. All right. Not only is Hasbro currently working on a movie based on the hugely popular tabletop role-playing game Dungeons & Dragons, but it has also now been revealed that the company is also actively developing a live-action television show to go with it. Brian Goldner, the CEO of Hasbro, announced earlier this week that the company very much intends to commit to the franchise, with the company's entertainment arm currently in the early stages of developing a live-action show based around the lore of Dungeons and Dragons. The team is also working on a couple of different approaches because there's so much mythology in canon to Dungeons and Dragons for live action television. Goldner said on Hasbro's quarterly earnings call, and there's been very strong interest. We've talked about how many global streamers and terrestrial broadcasters have been very interested in Dungeons and Dragons, he said. So my question to the entire group, and we'll go one by one here, is do you remember the old Dungeons and Dragons cartoon? How likely do you think this will be good? What's your impressions of it? And any idea on where they'll go with this? And I'll start with Sean.
I do remember the cartoon. In fact, I believe I've got one box set.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The original series.
I would like to see that.
Obviously it won't have anything to do with the cartoon, which is a tragedy because that cartoon was fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought anyway. I know that there's been several Dungeons and Dragons movies. They were cheaply made.
Hello, Betty.
Hi, Ma. And hopefully they can put a decent enough budget to get away from that, from those early films. Everything's there. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons, they took their cues from Tolkien and then expanded from that, and created their own canon universe. So there's plenty of material to pull from. There's plenty of sights to see, as it were. I'm looking forward to it. I've got to stay positive. Stay positive.
That's right. GA, we're going to you.
Yeah, I'm sorry that old cartoon was trash. It was a bad cartoon. It was bad. It was bad. I mean, as you know, liking Dungeons and Dragons and liking tabletop games and fantasy. I mean, it was cool to see as a kid. I'm like, hey, this is fun. Then as an adult, I look back and go, what was I thinking? It was just bad. But who did you say is producing it, and what is it? It's through a streaming service?
Well, it's through Hasbro, and they did not announce an actual place that they're developing it. So it's yet to be determined where it will go. But there's so many options on this thing.
Yeah. I mean, to me, if it goes to, say, a Netflix or even an HBO Max, it'll be pretty good. I mean, again, it all hinges on obviously who they get to write it. You know, how much the budget is, how much they're going to spend on it, which is a big deal. That's why I say if it's Netflix or HBO Max, the budget usually is going to be decent, I would say, especially for a property like Dungeons and Dragons that people like. So it all depends on who writes it, right? I mean, we don't, as long as we don't have a Dave and Dan situation where they're like, well, we wanted to take the fantasy out of it because people don't like that.
Right.
You know,
Oh, man.
as long as we don't have that situation, I think it'll be okay, and I'd watch it.
Hey, Jerry. All right, we're going to Walt.
Jay, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on the cartoon being trash, but I do know where you're coming from with that though, because there's several old cartoons that back then in the day I thought were the greatest thing in the world, and then I look at it now and I'm like, oh, I can't believe I was watching this. He-Man being that one cartoon, but I would love to see them take the old cartoon, use those characters, not necessarily use the same synopsis for getting those characters to that world or whatever, you know, because
you don't want the roller coaster?
No. I don't want the whole, hey, we're going to the amusement park and we're going to ride the Dungeons and Dragons ride. Next thing you know, they're in Dungeons and Dragons. That was
entire base of the trash mountain.
It's not so cool.
Right. I didn't care for that.
It's very Land of the Lost.
It was very Land of the Lost.
Now, I mean, the characters in that show, if you modernize them and put a little bit more edge, especially Venger, because after going to a couple of comic conventions and seeing guys dressed up as Venger, like some pretty good costumes of Venger, I was like, yeah, that needs to be a movie. For me as a kid growing up watching that show, Venger was a scary dude to me.
Get Patrick Stewart to voice Venger, make him all CGI.
Oh, dude. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I hope they don't screw it up, because I've seen the last Dungeons and Dragons movies, and I'm glad that I don't remember much of them.
Right. How many of those did they have?
I just remember, you know what? I don't know how many they had, but I just remembered the first one that featured one of the Wayans brothers.
Right.
And
I remember that too, unfortunately.
No. Mm-mm. I mean, and I love the Wayans brothers, you know, but no, just wasn't having it.
All right.
I'm seeing three.
There's three Dungeons and Dragons. They made 3 of those
in 2000, 2005, and 2012.
Wow. Oh, yeah, GA, we're not hearing you.
Forgot to unmute. Yeah, that's if you're going by Dungeons and Dragons, just that title.
Right.
But if you go by the other ones, like my favorite thing was always Dragonlance. That's what I loved, was Dragonlance was my stuff. They made a horrible animated movie in 2008. I mean, Kiefer Sutherland was like Raceland's voice, and I'm like, this might be good. No, it stunk. It was bad.
Yeah, they just need to invest in. I mean, it's like. Like the first G.I. Joe movie, they got somebody who just wanted to take the name and make something, and then, you know, John M. Chu comes in and is like, you know what, I was a fan. Let's at least do some sort of service to the name. So
the first thing they have to take into account is not to make everything Jumanji.
Yes.
Because like we talked about that
Yes.
original Dragonlance one that you were talking about, that cartoon, they came from Earth and arrived in this world. They're doing it with Monster Hunter World. This movie is seriously, they're in like Stargate. It's like American soldiers or something. They're like going to show up in this planet. Give us people native to that world.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to keep the same characters that you like from the enemy, sure, but make them all native of whatever world they're using, Kryn or Forgotten Realms, whatever they're using. Make it them natural to it, so it's more like we're in this world, not instead of joining them into this world.
Scott says GA's voice is all pro.
Thank you very much.
Jim says hello.
Hey, what's up?
My thoughts on this subject is several things. Right now, fantasy it couldn't be hotter. I mean, name something that's fantasy that's really done terribly lately. There's not a lot of franchises that have fallen on their face. I think that since this is Dungeons and Dragons and that it's Hasbro, I think they're probably going to, if they kind of go the path of making it serious and stuff, it's not going to be Game of Thrones serious, because they're probably looking for a general audience. And I hope that doesn't mean that they dumb it down, you know, when they put this thing together. I hope they take it seriously. You've got a lot of different realms and stuff that they can do this with, which is maybe why they're talking about having multiple shows. If you produce it well, you can do as many shows as you want. I mean, I think that, you know, if you look at The Mandalorian, it's doing well. And so they're already talking about doing spinoff series of that. Obviously, Dungeons and Dragons has 50 years of lore that they can dip into. And all of that is potentially awesome. But again, like GA says, it all comes down to that writing. Do you have someone who really knows what they're doing with writing, or is it something that's, they're going to purposely make it for 13-year-olds and it's going to be terrible? I don't know. I guess that's it. I enjoyed the old cartoon, but I haven't seen it since I was very young. So I can't say for sure if it's going to hold up or not.
My biggest fear is right now the books, they are altering the books to be what is the word I'm looking for? More woke, more SJW, more political, as my cat falls off my lap. And they're changing things, it seems, just to change them. And I'm wondering if that's going to transfer into the movies or into the show. If they're going to get rid of a particular race of characters that any Dungeons and Dragons fan has grown up with, because it might offend somebody, or, you know, are they going to change everything just to suit the smallest common denominator?
There is some controversy right now with Dungeons and Dragons and them talking about races and that sort of thing. And I mean, I don't know exactly how that's going to all shake out, or how they're going to address that in the shows. And again, I think it all comes down to whether this thing is going to be done by adults and for adults, or if it's going to be done by ignoramuses for ignoramuses. Ronnie says, hi, me boyos. Mike says, hey, fellows. And then Ronnie says something I'm not going to put on here because I'm not getting on that subject.
But it's funny, you bring up that topic, because I've had this argument on my channel over and over. Being a Star Wars channel, this argument comes up all the time.
Really? Are you talking about races in Star Wars?
That's been brought up a couple times, but just the idea of woke politics or pushing an agenda, and it's ruining the movies and this. And I always boil it down to this. It's like, whatever more liberal agendas or whatever it is that people maybe don't want to see, those have always been there. Okay, they've always been in Hollywood since its inception. That's what Hollywood was created. So that's not that it's new. What people should be arguing against is get some better writers who know how to write about social issues.
Exactly. We've said that many times. Exactly. It's
that
not
can write social issues and put them in the story without them being on the nose.
It's
forget everything else.
Right. You're right on target. It's shoehorning it into stuff and it's not telling a good story first and foremost.
Right.
It's we have to get this topic in here because we want to show that we're on top of this. And it's like, there are ways that, and again, I mean, if you're talking, look at Star Trek. Star Trek was on top of progressive issues back in the 60s.
Right.
I mean, but it was baked in. It was part of the thing. They tell good stories. They're challenging people. They didn't just throw it in there and beat you over the head with it.
Right.
They told good stories first.
I think one of the best examples also is if you've ever watched any episode of Adventure Time.
I love it.
I've seen Adventure Time. Yeah.
I mean, there's so much stuff thrown in there that after reading an article about was it Pendleton Ward, the creator?
Yeah.
When he said each of the characters, like all of the characters, are representative of some sort of mental disorder.
Oh wow!
So I think it's I
hadn't heard that.
Yeah, like the Ice King.
Right.
The Ice King is an example of what is it?
Like PTSD or something.
No,
because he had a.
I'm probably suffering from it right now. Memory loss.
Yes.
So
yeah,
dementia.
because he had a traumatic experience that kind of messed him up,
and
they did explore that on the show.
And every time he takes off his crown, it gets worse. So he keeps his crown on to keep sane, but he's got dementia, like really bad. So there's all these different characters. Like all these different characters are this particular mental disorder, or not so much disorder, but a little problem. Every one of them's a little problem. Like Bubblegum, the Bubblegum Princess is pretty demented. She's always doing genetic experiments on her subjects.
Right.
So
all true. Let's see. We got Scott says nobody cares about any of the changes to D&D news at the comic shop. I think there's room in the market for both. The almighty dollar keep either or both alive. Mike says diversity could kill the entertainment industry. It needs to be integrated smartly, not just forced to cover all groups.
Exactly.
Fantasy and science fiction is custom designed to discuss these topics.
Yeah.
In a way that's smart and interesting. Just do it smart and interesting, please. All right. I'm going to move on to the next deal if I can get to the right thing here. Clive Barker is joining the HBO series Hellraiser adaptation with David Gordon Green. Clive Barker has joined the executive producing team of HBO's developing series adaptation of his classic horror franchise Hellraiser. Deadline broke in April that Halloween Helmer, David Gordon Green, is on board to direct the initial episodes. Based on the Hellraiser horror franchise and Clive Barker's novel The Hellbound Heart, the series is planned as an elevated continuation of the existing Hellraiser mythology. The franchise has been a global pop culture phenomenon for over 30 years and one of the scariest. Aside from the 10 films? Did they really do 10 films?
Yeah.
I think I missed a few of those.
Me too.
The franchise has also spawned a book anthology, comic books. The comic books are pretty cool, and global merchandise apparel. So my question to the panel is, what do you think about Hellraiser in general? What do you think of how do you think that this new project for HBO Max is shaping up? And I want to talk a little bit. I'll save that. First, I'll go to GA.
Sure. I'm not a huge horror fan. There's certain elements of horror I like. Lovecraft is one of them. I love Lovecraft Country.
Clearly.
Yeah.
But like the campy horror stuff, I was never a huge fan of, but I still liked it. I liked Freddy and watch stuff like that. But of all of them, Hellraiser was one of my favorites. I love the whole mythology behind them and the lore and the Xenobites and how they come into this world of and deliver, basically just delivering pain. That's what they feed on, is delivering pain. So I thought it was cool. Clive Barker coming back to it, I think, is really neat. And with HBO loves doing shows with a deep and rich mythos, and I think that perfect match for this.
Very cool. Sean, you're up.
Anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge fan of horror films in general, but Clive Barker particularly. The reading The Hellbound Heart and then seeing the movie, I was very struck by how close to the book Clive. I mean, he wrote it, so him directing it, of course,
and directed it, yeah.
But I was surprised at how close they kept it to that original book. Great job. And then it just went to hell from there. I'm real excited, actually. When originally they said that Clive was not going to be a part of this, and then it went from producer to director to screenwriter, so on and so forth. It bounced around quite a bit. I was getting kind of leery, but knowing that he's going to be a part of it, I'm, by God, bring it. I'm really interested in going back into that world, so to speak.
Hey, Spencer.
I'm sincerely hoping that they try to film the Scarlet Gospels, which is kind of a sequel to the original Hellbound Heart, and that thing was amazing. I absolutely loved that. That's
to Hulu or to HBO Max or to Amazon Prime or to Netflix or someplace else. I mean, if you want to start a new streaming service, they say, what do we have in the catalog that we can bring back? Do you think that this is a good thing? Is this a golden age for fantasy and science fiction and horror? Or do you think that we're at peak entertainment and they need to slow down?
I think we're at the golden edge. I think we're at the golden age at it, because I mean, you think back to like when we were kids, man, wouldn't it be cool, when cable first came about, wouldn't it be cool if there was a cable channel that had nothing but cartoons? Boom, look at where we're at right now. And now we have all these streaming services, and we have all these superhero and sci-fi shows and now fantasy shows, and they're done the way that we've always envisioned these shows to be done. Not real, like how, back in the 80s and you can even say part of the 90s, everything was like really cheesy.
I mean, even the early 2000s weren't so super fantastic.
I mean, so like you look at now and the special effects technology, everything, this is the golden age. I mean, for instance, if you haven't watched it yet, the making of The Mandalorian.
I have not watched that, and I want to see it.
I was practically, my eyes were watering every episode, because I was like, oh my God, that's fantastic. I mean, you really need, all I can say is after watching that, green screens are dead.
Right.
Green screen technology is dead. And I got a feeling one of these days we'll be doing a streaming show, and each of us will be in our homes, and it'll look like we're all sitting on the beach together.
In a virtual studio?
Yeah. It'll look like we're all sitting on the beach together,
What's her name? Bryce Dallas Howard. She called the holodeck, which was verboten because it was, of course, a Star Trek thing, but that's exactly what it is. It's
stagecraft. It's called.
Yeah. I mean, you basically walk into this environment. You don't light the environment. The light that's coming from the environment is your lighting. That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, and, people always talk about how actors have to, look at a green table and pretend like it's a monitor or it's a keyboard or something. Now they can just, put it out there. So you're actually reacting against something. You don't have to light the set. It's all correctly lit from the very beginning, it's pretty powerful. Yeah, it's pretty powerful stuff. I agree. I think we're in a golden age. Are you kidding me? I think that what started this was Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead, and obviously what's happening in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Those three things show that not only could you do these things, you could do them for adults, you could put a lot of money into it, and it would return a lot of money to you, and that the audience was out there. Plus, those of us who put up with the crappy stuff that was in the 80s or 70s or 90s, we're running the show now. I mean, It's our people who are there going, let's make this cool. Make the stuff that we always wanted. That's kind of my thought on that subject. Anyone else? Any thoughts?
I'll go. Yeah, I completely agree. Golden Age, completely. I mean, I would go further back. I mean, as far as streaming, I would say Game of Thrones, yeah. But Lord of the Rings, the movies.
Oh, that's a good.
Yeah, that finally brought fantasy to, hey, this stuff is actually cool and a good story, and not just for little kids.
Right.
Adults can enjoy this. Harry Potter, kind of, but it was still geared more towards to kids, even though there was a lot of adult fans. But Lord of the Rings, I think, is the one that really broke it out. And then the MCU took it and ran that to the goal line. With those two things, it made all this stuff cool. Everyone's like, general audiences. I want to see some fantasy. I want to see some superheroes. It made a general audience love, and now we're seeing the returns of it. Right, we're getting a lot of stuff on TV and done with the correct production value that these shows are seeing. And Game of Thrones, when you say that, they're the ones that were proof of concept for streaming services. That's what made it we can do this.
Yeah, I remember the guy. His name is Red something. The guy who was or is the CEO of CBS famously said no fantasy or science fiction on CBS. When you see The Walking Dead pulling in 15 million people per week and doing better numbers than the big four television networks, suddenly people have to go, a zombie show? What? What's happening here? It made people, and Game of Thrones was eating up Sunday night for everyone. I mean, it became the must-have thing for HBO got amazing sales because of that. Lord of the Rings is definitely a good example too, though, for sure, because it showed that if you put the money in this and you treat the source material correctly, that the audience will show up for you, for sure. And it beat the executives who were staunchly against science fiction, fantasy, superhero stuff. It beat them over the head and destroyed their naysaying for all time, really. I mean, we are in an amazing era. Mike says that Walt, that's so true. The volume is the way of the future of filmmaking with the holodeck stuff. And Jerry says, yep, Lord of the Rings started it all. All right. Anyone else have anything to say on these subjects?
One last thing.
Sure.
Plus the fact that, with a streaming service, you can do an episodic tale, basically. You don't have to confine it to the editing room and just have a 2-hour movie or whatnot. So we've got episodes. You can tell the story as long as you need to tell it. As long as the ratings are high, you can keep telling the story.
That is so true. That is so important what you just said, because that was another thing. The television used to always be the rotten stepchild of entertainment. All the big actors and all the big money went to film, and then the television series that we're talking about suddenly became a big deal and became a way for you to drive subscriptions to your services and so on. And it honestly, a lot of the experimentation and a lot of the important narrative work is being done in television now, and movies kind of have to catch up, to be honest, because when you can tell a story in 10 parts, you can tell a lot more story. I mean, it can be far more interesting.
Yeah. And what would you rather have, a 10-hour movie or a 2.5-hour movie? The same story.
Yeah.
Told over that expanse. I mean, come on.
And I'll add one more thing. What started grabbing big name stars to TV you have to take that all the way back to 91 with Batman the Animated Series, because stars were fighting to get their voice on that show.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I'd forgotten about that, but that's true. That's a cartoon series that has held up quite well.
Yeah.
Congratulations to them on that.
It gave us Harley Quinn.
It did, and a lot of people don't realize that she did not exist before that show. And and what a great feather in their cap for creating a character who has evolved. I mean, she's evolved over the past 20 plus years, but fundamentally is still the same character with the voice and the attitude and all that sort of stuff. She just got married to Poison Ivy the other day. The
HBO Max series is spectacular.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh God!
Oh, I did not know that.
Universe for now it's on HBO Max. Oh
yes,
you need to go watch it. You need after this show. That is the first number one thing you need to do is go watch.
Stop broadcasting right now and go watch it.
Yeah, you need to go watch it.
Okay,
I second that.
I will do. Wow, I will do that.
Yeah.
I'm into. Now I'm very excited. No one has said that to me. That's very cool. Very cool. All right, here comes our next segment. All right, we're going to do our feature segment, which is about our guest, G.A. Lungaro, who is the author of fantasy novel Souls of Magic Dawn, which was a successful Kickstarter campaign in 2019. Mm-hmm. G.A. is a big fan of comics since a young age and has finally taken the leap from the written word to the animated world of comics. He created the new imprint Rubicon Comics, and has created its first title, Isadora. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the Immortal Chains. A new take on the Lovecraftian mythos. That's why I mentioned Lovecraft earlier, and superheroes. And that is also the first entry in what is called the Lovecraftian Dark Heroverse. So welcome to the show, G.A. Lungaro.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Guys, you can chime in here if you want to ask him a question. But what I want to do first off is ask how you got into writing.
Wow. I've been writing. I got it here somewhere. I didn't pull it out, but I got a picture of it. I literally bound with tape and cardboard and notebook paper my first book when I was 13.
Oh yeah,
it is a horrible Metroid fan fiction, but
that's okay.
But I made the book. I wrote it and everything. I wrote copyright 1988 inside it. So I've been wanting to write stuff since I was a kid. And the Souls of Magic Dawn thing actually started with me back in 2003, 2004. Wow. We were doing, me and my wife at the time were doing role play on his website, and a lot of characters that inspired the characters in my book came from that role play. So I'm like, I want to write this. So I started it in 2006, and then 10 years of picking it up, putting it down, kind of finishing it, querying, then not doing it, then giving up. And then finally, in 2018, I sat down and said, no, I'm going to get this completely done and edited. And I did all that. And then in 2019, I did a Kickstarter and then put it up on Amazon. And it raised over $4,000.
That's awesome.
For the book on there. And I haven't been blowing up Amazon with it, but there's been some sales off Amazon for it as well. And yeah, fantasy, sci-fi, and comic books, those are my loves. Those are my vices that I need in my life.
let me ask you this, because I talked to you before you released that book, and I know that you were a little reluctant to kind of put it out there without certain circumstances. What made the change for you? What made you pull the trigger?
Well, there was two things. The first thing, when I first started writing it, I was like, there's no way I'm self-publishing it, because that's like Deathville for an author, right? No one gets noticed. But that was back in, like I said, the early 2000s.
Yep, it's changed.
Self-publishing in the last 5 years, I would say, has changed quite a bit. And it while it doesn't necessarily mean, again, tons of sales, but it does. But you do have a much better chance of being noticed than you would before. So I'm like, you know what, screw this. I'm not getting any younger. Why am I going to keep querying agents? Let me just put this out on my own. You know what I mean? And keep going from there.
Do you feel like that was a? Do you think that was a good decision?
Yeah, at the end of it, right? Because I mean, I could still be here at this time and still haven't gotten picked up by an agent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You got a book out.
Right. Right. I got a book out, and if I keep writing and keep doing what I'm doing, even I mean, most writers, regardless if they're self-published or with anyone else, usually don't get any kind of critical success until their 8th to 10th book.
Right.
For anything like that. So this is my first book. So it's like, what am I expecting? It doesn't, I'll keep writing, keep doing my thing, and maybe people will notice this great fantasy series from 2018, and
Sure.
notice it in 10 years, and next thing you know, it's a Netflix series, right?
I'm gonna absolutely. I'm gonna go to myself here for a minute. There's the book.
Thank you.
By the way,
Yes.
if you let's see, let me put it back here. That'd be better, isn't it? Souls of Magic Dawn.
Yeah.
By the way, Gia Lungaro.
I was very happy with that cover art too. They did a great job on the cover.
Yeah,
art.
how did you hook up with the cover?
It's a website, hundredsofcovers.com.
I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they do a really good job. I was really surprised. Now, I did notice from all the when we were doing the adjustments to it and everything like that, and redos, a lot of stuff they have, I think, is stock art. You know, I mean, like a certain, so they have, X amount of female characters, X amount of male characters, different, races, whatever. And they have a lot of stock art where they plan to plug and play some stuff.
Right.
So if you want a truly, really customized cover, they may not be the best one, because I think some of the stuff is going to start feel plug and play after a while. But the price is great. I mean, it was $200, and I had a coupon, so I only paid $100. So
That's pretty good. Let me also show something else here. I'm going to come back to me for a second. See if I can show this. It's so bright in here. Can you see the map? You've got this map going on here.
Mm-hmm.
I
drew
mean,
that.
Did you realize? I was going to ask.
Yeah, I drew the outline and the locations of everything, and then I had my son. I found this map making software that can make it look like a map. And you just have to import and design. So he's good at graphic art. So we used this program, put that in there, and he made all the little accents, made the font look nicer, the little waves along the coastlines, and the stuff that gives a little more texture and feel,
That's
like
cool.
a map.
Yeah.
But yeah, I drew the original thing I drew, and I drew that about 12 years ago. I had it on
That's
a piece
awesome.
of paper in a notebook this whole time.
let me just say one more thing about this, because I have a copy here. It's really it's well produced. It looks great, and it's a big thick book, and it's top notch. So if people are into fantasy stuff, they should be checking out your book.
Yeah, and that goes into the next thing I'm doing too, because you can actually get my book through the comic book. As well.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. Absolutely. Well, let's talk about what is Isadora about.
Sure. Isadora and Immortal Chains. Like I said earlier, I like Lovecraft. And I also love superheroes. My growing up, DC Comics was my jam. That's what I went. Flash, Green Lantern, Batman. Those are all my love. So I love the superhero kind of genre, but I also love that really confounding, and I don't even call Lovecraft stuff scary, but it's just that real deep. There's a lot of human stories and just
very
a lot
different horror.
Yeah, very different kind of horror. And I like that kind, and I like superheroes. And one thing about Lovecraft, a vast majority of stuff in Lovecraft and mythos, it never usually ends well for anyone. It's always a pretty bad ending in some way for everyone, and it's never good. So I like, well, hold on. How about we have a world where someone kind of combats that, but is also from that? So I created this character, Isadora, who was a Roman woman during Pompeii, the eruption of Pompeii. And she got taken by the King in Yellow, which is a Lovecraftian mythos entity, to become his herald, similar to how the Silver Surfer was Herald the Galactic kind of deal.
Yeah, cool.
On a smaller scale. But they basically harvest souls, and they're all related to the Great Old Ones, which if people know from Lovecraft, that's the Cthulhu's of the world, the Nyarlathotheps. And there are these entities that are out there. So she's kind of like a Silver Surfer level power underneath these godlike enemies. And she, at the start of this series, she's found a way to put him basically to sleep. And she's now using the powers how she wants to. And that involves saving humanity from itself, if you will. and she's battling other elements in this Lovecraft world as well. So I kind of made her this transgressive anti-hero kind of person.
Yeah.
Character that has these powers, but it's in a world that's usually very there's no good endings, no happy endings, so I want to bring kind of, at least there's a fight, in this. And it's so funny. I've watched Lovecraft Country. I mean, I started making this before I even knew Lovecraft Country was coming. And then that came out, and I'm like, they kind of did that. It just wasn't superheroes. But I'm like, well, here, proof of concept. There you go.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah. And like you said, maybe they'll pick your deal up,
right,
and run with it sometime. They give you the $5 million payoff, and
that'd be nice, wouldn't it? That'd be nice.
Yeah. That's the dream. That's the dream. But, hey, let me pull out here for just a second. Yeah. I grabbed a few images so that people can see what the comic looks like, and I read it today. I just want people to know what's going on here. So anyway, there's the cover illustration. If you're interested in it, this is the Isadora.
Yes, the main cover. There's 2 variants as well. Okay,
yeah. You have some cool cover art for sure. There's the first page. I didn't show all the stuff, but I grabbed a few pages. I mean, that's cool.
Yeah. It's really clean artwork.
Really cool stuff. That's way up my alley.
Great guy. His name is Alper Geckel. He did the penciling, the inking, lettering, and the coloring was his a partner, Serkan Sarakaya, who did the coloring for it.
The coloring is really good too.
Yeah, they're from Turkey. And when I first was setting out looking for an artist to do the internal, I wanted something gritty. I would say, when I was explaining to people, I would say, think like Neil Gaiman's Sandman. I want that kind of darkish, gritty-ish kind of look for it. And I ran into Alper and I looked at his stuff. I'm like, ooh, this is perfect. This is perfect. I go with it's gritty. It fits in there. It works for the character and the tone and feel of the comic book. So for that, so he did that cover you showed, which is the main cover, and all the internals as well. Then I have 2 variant covers, and I wanted different kind of styles for those.
I'm impressed with the story. It's really cool. I think it's different, and the artwork is excellent, and not just the line work. The color work is. Yeah. I mean, Scott always talks about the color work. He's absolutely right. It really enhances this comic. I think this is a top-notch gig you've got here.
Thank you. I hope it is. I love it. I mean, I did do the Kickstarter. That was it ended at the end of September, and it was successful. It raised $4,500. So 4,500 and 123 backers. But since I gave myself
Kickstarters,
yeah, 2 successful ones. I mean, they're both by the skin of the teeth and on last day. But,
hey, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you get there, right?
That's right.
You still got the goal line. Still got the W in the column.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Now, and what I'm doing with Isadora that I didn't do with Souls of Magic's Dawn, because Souls of Magic's Dawn, once the Kickstarter was over, I was just going to put it on Amazon. Anyone who could buy it, they just go on Amazon and get the book that way.
Yeah.
With this being a comic book, I wanted to give people who didn't get a chance to or didn't know about the Kickstarter, give them a little bit of time to jump in and buy stuff a la carte before I go to fulfillment. So I opened up a pre-order store through BackerKit for Isadora and Immortal Chains. So basically, even if you miss the campaign, you can still go to the Backer store now and pick up any one of the items that were part of the campaign.
Since you're mentioning that, there it is.
Thank you.
I think it's interesting that this is a fulfilled or successful Kickstarter, but you can still sell issues through that store. I wasn't aware that you could do that.
Yeah, that's set up. Kickstarter is actually I got an email. They're adding add-ons now to their thing because I guess they want to compete with these third-party companies.
Sure.
But BackerKit, I mean, there's a fee. It costs money to use it, but it actually makes SKUs for every item. So you know exactly what to do with shipping. They help with shipping if you need it and getting the labels and everything. And then you could open this pre-order store and run it for as long as you want for people to still jump on and order stuff. So that's cool. And like I said, anyone who saw the novel, if you want a paperback, if you go to the Isadora site, the novel's on there and it's cheaper than at Amazon. So there's a discount on it in the Isadora Kickstarter backer kit. So if you go there, you can get the novel that way as well. And not pay the full price for it.
I'm going to put some of the comments that we have because people are Stuff is coming in here. Spencer says Harley Quinn show is great. Maxine says she's watching. Hello, Maxine.
Hey, Mom.
Hey.
Ronnie says, who's the master? Who's the master?
Showed up.
Ronnie asked, the question is for G.A. Lungaro. I'm a huge epic fantasy fan and would like to know what you recommend for a first-time reader of your work. And he says he'll buy it tonight, and he's serious about that because Ronnie is a serious fantasy guy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So now, when the question is what would you recommend for a first-time reader?
He put that out of your stuff.
Of my stuff.
Right.
That's the only book they can read right now, my stuff, because it's the first book.
Right.
So that's the best place to start.
Souls of Magic's Dawn.
Done, right. And it's going to be part of a series. I'm planning 4 books. I don't want to take as long as George R. R. Martin between books. I don't want to take a decade between them.
Yeah, do not do
that's
that.
not the plan. But since I started doing this comic book. Yeah, well, no, no way. What, a book a month? I can't do that either.
Serious.
But I put it aside for now to do the comic book. Because the comic book is really quick for me to write. I can knock out a 24-page comic book in less than a day if I want to. So that's not that hard. So that's why I'm like, let me try this, So I mean, I'm going to get back to the book. It's just going to be a couple years probably before it's available. But there's going to be a book 2 in that series also.
Cool. Stormy says, amazing book. Love it so far.
Stormy.
And cannot recommend it enough. So there's a big recommendation.
Stormy's good people.
All right. Jeree says she's a huge Lovecraft fan and that the Lovecraft country has a lot of powerful women.
That it does.
Ronnie says he'll get the novel on your website since it's cheaper.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, dude. Go to the link that he put up for Isadora. You can get the novel there. And if you want to pick up anything with the comic book, it's all there. You can just get it in one cart and be on your way.
There it is. There's the link right there. By the way. How did you find it? I know a lot of people are writers and they consistently ask this question. How do you find a comic book artist? What did you do? What was your process there?
Facebook. I gotta be on Facebook. I joined a group that was recommended by other creators. And it's basically, literally, the name of the group is Comic Writers Match Comic Artists or something.
Okay, I'm a member of that group. Yeah.
So you know which one I'm talking about then?
Yeah, I do. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's where I found Elper.
I'll add that. Let me make a note.
Yeah. That's where I found Elper. Now, the covers, I got lucky enough. A friend of mine, Jimmy Reyes, he's starting Page One Comics. He's done work for Marvel as a colorist and stuff and for other comic companies. So he's a professional there who's trying to do his own thing now. And through him, I met Mark Goldfine, who he's an older man. He only drew for like a hobby, just for fun. And then he was showing fan art on the Discord, and they're like, "Oh my God, your stuff's amazing! You need to like do this." So people started hiring him to do covers, and I hired him to do one of my covers. So he has a Discord where all these people are in there. So I found him in there. I found Samantha Branch in there. I found Jay Espin, who did the cards and the other stuff in there. So I found all of them right in that Discord that I first found out because of Jimmy Reyes. So
do you offer to pay them a page rate, or do you say we're gonna give you the back end when we do because a lot of people don't know kind of what to do there.
If you're new to it, I would refrain from asking for people to take payment on the back end. That usually only happens with people maybe who are very comfortable and have worked each other many, many times. Yeah. So they've built a relationship. So that's different. So I know there's a big fad in the comic world right now, the crowdfunding world of running the crowdfund to pay to make the comic. Right. And we had someone who did that a few weeks ago. Yeah. Now it works, and there's plenty of creators who've done wonderful things with that method. However, it does also open it up to stuff never getting done and money just never being used. The way it might never happen. Right. Right. So that's the risk with that. So me personally, I didn't want to fall into that world. So I put my money where my mouth is. I paid for everything up front. Yeah. Before the Kickstarter launched. And not even before it ended. Before it launched. People need to know that. People need to know, what you did to make this thing happen. Right. I put in all of my own money. The book was done, except for I think it was a couple pages of lettering. It was done the day the Kickstarter launched. Yeah. So by the first week of the Kickstarter, the book was completely done. So it was already there. And Alper's already on board. The one he wants to do the next one, he hasn't read. He's bugging me. Do you got the script yet? I'm like, let me fulfill this first. And then we'll start doing
kidding. Because it's doing Kickstarter is kind of another job.
Another job, and it's high stress, man. It's
I've
the
heard
emotional roller coaster that it is running a crowdfund is ridiculous. It's crazy. I'm actually thinking about doing the next one at Indiegogo just for the fact that I don't have to have a end date. You know what I mean?
Right.
The Kickstarter with the end date made me so nervous. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And now, so I'm probably going to do the next one on Indiegogo. Just for that reason. And see where it goes from there, you know. And if it with Indiegogo, not to fall into the trap that other creators have, because I already have paid it. Once we get to that, if it's still going and people are buying it, then we'll leave it on demand, and you know the completion date fulfillment will be this date, and let it keep going until then.
Really?
You know
so you can just keep it going perpetually on there.
Yeah, but that's the downside of it too for people who haven't put a dime into their project yet,
right?
And they're expecting all, because the Indiegogo you get paid immediately. It's not like Kickstarter where they give you the check if A is successful, and then a week after the campaign ends. So you don't get this. So if you're doing a 30-day campaign, you won't see that money until almost 2 months after you automatically charge right away and give you the thing. That's the only thing that drives me nuts. It's piecemeal, so there's got to waiting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what they were supposed to do is that, I need X amount of money for the page art. And then once the Indiegogo hits that much, you could take that money, now hire the artist. And then the next piece, we got to do some cover. You know what I mean? So you could do it that way, but then the artist can't do it now. He backed out. Or halfway through, the artist is a problem. You know? And a lot of times it's very legitimate, but to me, it opens the door for a lot of bad business people.
Sure. So now you've run a couple of successful Kickstarter campaigns. What have you learned through that process? If there's something in particular that's like, man, you wish you'd done this from the beginning.
Wow. Being prepared for it is a big deal. Like with the book, I had someone help me with the Kickstarter, and I didn't know what to do next. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, don't we got to show them this? And I did learn with that one, the way we did the stretch goals there, I learned to change them a little bit when I did the second one. So that helped me to figure out stretch goals to keep people coming in. But the one thing I would suggest everybody is be prepared. Be prepared for the ups and downs of running a campaign, especially when you got a 30-day campaign, you're watching a week with not one person backing it.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Brutal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It runs crazy. Now, some people get lucky and they hit that goal really quick, and that's great.
Yeah.
But that's not everyone. That's the very few.
I don't know how you do that unless you're Keanu Reeves.
Promotion. It depends. Yeah, it depends on who it is. There's a big group in comic books out there. I don't necessarily associate with them that well, but that they have a lot of big names with YouTube channels that do a lot of promotion, and it gets seen in a lot of places, and that's a big deal. I know some people, but I don't know a lot, so I had to do this all on my own, promoting it, which is why it makes me feel pretty good, because I didn't have any big names promoting this, or anything. So I hit that on my own, when most fail the first or second time before this is my first combo.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we're doing this right here, is just give another venue for people to, promote their stuff. There's very few places out there that are welcoming, people. And if you're not in a certain crowd, then you are out of luck. Yeah. And we want to just create we want another place where creators can get their stuff in front of people.
Your story reminds me of, and you guys will remember when I moved back to Oklahoma City, almost 2 decades ago, when I was moving back to Oklahoma from Texas, and I was trying to unload half of my furniture at the house. So eBay was the thing at the time. We remember eBay, right?
Sure.
So I had like 2 weeks to upload everything, and nobody was hitting any of the furniture. Nobody, until 2 days before I needed to move out of the house. So
That's brutal.
It was brutal.
That's no good.
It was brutal. I'm like 2 days before I needed to move out of the house, and then so it's I totally feel that. I totally feel that pain on that. So yeah.
Scott's got a question. He says, if you figured out a better time of year to launch over other times, example, not around Christmas or better in February or anything like that, what do you think about timing?
You pretty much hit it on the head. I mean, from my limited experience with it, yeah, I wouldn't start a campaign during the holiday season. Of course, it always depends what you're selling. You know what I mean? But if you have anything that you're doing during the Halloween season, you want to fulfill it before the end of the holiday season, because what are people buying it for? They're buying gifts. So yeah, I would say, starting it late, after Thanksgiving is not that great. I wouldn't start anything, maybe latest the first week of November. After that, leave it alone until like March.
Wow.
But again, it depends on what you're selling. You know what I mean? Depending on what you're selling, could have it, and also depends on who you know. If you know enough people that promote
Just
you,
like everything
launch it whenever you want.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's talk a little bit about Rubicon. Obviously, you have a bigger plan here, maybe more than one comic or something. What are your plans?
Yeah, I mean, right now the story's gonna the universe I'm gonna build is this universe, this Lovecraftian dark heroverse. Because what's superheroes without having a universe for them to be in, and have other people with powers and stuff like that. So I'm starting out with her series, and this is going to probably be a 4 to 5 issues run for this series. The other ones I'm planning on doing larger. This is a 24-page book. I'm going to do 48 pages for the other ones, and then at the end, at the 4th or 5th one, when it ends this run of series, I was going to do a graphic novel. For the whole series as one graphic novel.
Cool.
But I wanted to branch it out with spin-offs with other characters that are sprouting from this universe. There's other old ones. There's other people other beings that work for the old ones. There's a lot of other humans that can be entered into the story. So I want to build this Heroverse thing, and who knows, it may, be like the Avengers at the end or Justice League, to where all these unite for some big, universe-ending catastrophe that's happening or something. So yeah, that's the plan, is to grow that universe. And I have a lot of other ideas that I was going to do. I have a steampunk idea and world that I already finished the issue writing it. It's just not been drawn or anything. That I could add on under Rubicons and whatever other things work. And again, for right now, it's just me as a writer. That's it. You know what I mean? But if this goes on and there's people that like it and want to be a part of it, then we'd hire other writers, other artists. We could have a whole line of series under the label of different kind of books. But that's the short-term and mini long-term goal right now.
Cool. We've got a comment here. Let's get to this. Scott's talking about eBay. I guess once either me or Dirk got a case. Star Wars figures for a penny on Yahoo Auctions. Shipping was free. The person that listed didn't even make us pay that penny. Just wanted to be rid of it.
That's lucky.
I'd forgotten about that. That was some time ago. Let's talk a little bit about your show, The Great Council.
Yeah. Another new thing. I just apparently can't get away from trying to be creative. I'm so lucky I'm with the person I'm with, because she is so understanding of everything I do.
She puts up with it.
Yeah. Okay, crazy boy. Just go ahead. Do your thing. So, but yeah, so I started the show almost a year anniversary. The 12th is the 1 year anniversary that I started the channel. And we hit monetization about 3 months ago. So that made me pretty happy. The show's, it's not huge. We're just a little over 1,000 subscribers, but to me, hitting that, less than a year
awesome.
is a big deal. So I'm happy about that. But it started out as a Star Wars centric kind of channel, talking about Star Wars news and everything. This was just before the Rise of Skywalker came out and everything. But since there's just so much other stuff I love, comic books, sci-fi, fantasy, that I didn't want to just focus on that. So I spread it out. It's pretty much, we cover anything that's usually involves any kind of nerdy stuff in movies and books and stuff like that. So sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. And the name Grey Council eventually came from the fact, like the Grey Jedi that was in the EU for a while.
Yes.
People talk about it. So we decided to make a Grey Council because there's people that that are associated that hated the sequels, and the people that loved them, and everyone in between. And guess what? We're all still friends and can still talk. It doesn't mean we can't talk because we're not happy with our Star Wars. So that's why we called it the Grey Council at the time. And then I have a partner now, Yellow. Yellow does it. He started being on my everyday on there about 2 months ago now. So he's a permanent fixture as my partner for the daily show. We do Tuesday through Friday at 2 p.m. Central live stream, and then we do a Sunday live stream at 3 p.m. Central where we talk a few things and then we game, like Among Us or some other game like that.
You do gaming during the broadcast? How long does the broadcast run?
The midday mashup is typically between an hour and a half to 2 hours on the Tuesday through Friday show. And then the Sunday one, we're usually on for about 4 hours because we're gaming. So that's a little longer. And so Monday and Saturday are basically our days off, unless something news breaks that we have to make a video about. Then, other than that, those days they were the one we're on.
Tell them how to find you again on that. I don't have the banner for that.
Yeah.
But
it's actually very easy. You just go to youtube.com/The Grey Council with the E, not an A.
There you go. Oh, I'm covering it. I'm sorry. Let's show it again. I'm sorry. There it is.
The Grey Council. So youtube.com/The Grey Council. And that'll send you over there. I can give you the link in private chat too if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I'm subscribed to it through the Taskforce Geek channel.
Yeah,
I'll grab it and put it on the errata for this article and make sure everyone knows about it.
Certainly.
I've watched several of your episodes and stuff. I'd like to get in and say hi, but there are 400 million people that are commenting on your episodes.
No, just not.
If I tried to make a comment, you'd never see it.
Oh, you would. It's how you skew the numbers, right? It's not 4 million people on there making comments. It's 4 people making 1 million comments.
Making 4 million comments.
So that's what it is.
That works.
We don't have many fans, but we have very vocal ones.
That's listen. That is worth its weight in gold for sure.
Yeah.
Since we're always looking for some comments and stuff. Speaking of that, Ronnie says 1,000 subscribers is huge. Congratulations. That is awesome. It also shows the power of having great content. What was that?
Ooh, that was mine. Sorry, I got to shut off my stream. People are subscribing. You're hearing the dings.
I was like,
thank you for whoever just subscribed.
That was me. I
there you go.
There you go.
And it was me too. So
there you go. I shut it down before the rest went off because it would have kept dinging.
If nothing else, you get 3 new subscribers.
Yeah. Thank you. That's important. I tell people
one at a time.
I do have fans that like to super chat and they're great because they give money for the show to grow. But I tell everyone too, dude, I don't need $1 from you guys. If you just like the video, stick around, and share it, that's payment enough.
It is, because that'll bring all the rest. Mm-hmm. The rest of it will come with viewers, especially if you're sharing it and stuff. Scott wants to know if he said. You said gaming, so he wants to define whether it's board games or video games.
Both, because on Tuesdays we do. I even got my dice my dice board still here. On Tuesday nights, I forgot about Tuesday night. Yeah. I'll give you the name of the company later if you want. They're awesome. It's an awesome dice tray.
Please, yeah.
But Tuesday nights, I forgot we do our Dungeons and Dragons stream on Tuesday nights from 6 to 10.
You are eschewing that for us tonight, aren't you?
Well, tonight I am. We moved it to last night. We played last night.
Oh, okay.
So instead of
we
tonight,
appreciate that. Thank you.
And so that's the board game. Now we do it through D&D Beyond, so technically there's some digital to it, but we're all in StreamYard like this, and we have our dice, except for Yellow, who wants to use digital dice for some unknown,
that's pretty cool.
Obscene reason. Who would not want to use? Who would want to use digital dice over real dice? Come on. So that's that one. But on Sundays, I kind of
like collecting the dice.
Yeah.
On Sundays, it's a video game stream. So we'll do like Dead by Daylight, Among Us. We're doing Star Wars Squadrons for a little bit. So video game streaming on Sundays.
Very cool. Very cool. You are on a lot, sir. I
do a lot of stuff. Yeah.
So much. So much. Does anyone have any other questions before we move on to our next subject here?
No, I think got them covered for me.
Sean, do you have anything? You've been super quiet, buddy.
That was some really good information there on Kickstarter.
So great. I mean, right on target with so much that we're doing. I'm sorry, Sean. Do you have something you want to say?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Listen, you're right on target with a lot of stuff that we're doing right now, and so you're a great resource for us. And I told you before the show, and I'll tell you right now, you're welcome back anytime. And I hope that you will come back. We'll help you promote as much as we can, and hopefully we'll boost each other up. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, definitely. You're welcome on my channel too. Anytime you hit me up on Twitter or whatever. Anytime you want to come on, you're welcome. I mean, we'll do it if you stop in the chat and say, "Hey, I want to come on." All right, here you go. Here's the link. Come on.
All right, cool. Yeah, cool. Steve says he's way late. Sorry. What's the Walt Godzilla birthday mentions count?
Oh, there were 0. So yeah.
And Ronnie says happy birthday. Is this your birthday, Walt?
2 weeks ago on the 22nd.
Well, what the heck?
I cracked over half a century. So.
51.
Wow.
So. Yeah.
Oh wow, you're ahead of me.
Yeah.
Wow, I thought I was the old man in the room.
No, I think I'm one of the old men in this room right here.
Yeah, and I'm not talking.
Yeah, he's like, no comment.
I don't know about you guys.
I don't know about you, but back in my day. Yeah.
Jerry's saying happy birthday. It was 2 weeks ago.
Thank you.
We're gonna get something started.
Very much.
You owe him a birthday present. Everyone knows Walt a birthday present.
All I know is you when it comes to what have you consumed, that what have you consumed part. Oh, yes. I got a stack of stuff.
Oh, you got a stack of stuff. Wow, maybe we ought to get to that. Yeah, let's see. We got one more comment here. Old average tonight.
Old average.
You're saying we're skewing old?
Yeah, maybe. It's the old demographic.
We're all young at heart. Young at heart. All right, we're moving on to the next thing here. Finally, let's go to On Blast. So it's On Blast. We're going to talk about things that we consumed. We're going to stuff that we watched or we read or we played, whatever you want to talk about. Since Walt has 46 minutes of that, we're going to get to him right now.
All right. First and foremost, you can see this sign right here. I bought this sign.
The Wu-Tang forever.
Yeah, and it says, "Presidents are temporary, but Wu-Tang is forever." 2020. So that's the first ever political sign I've ever put out in my yard. And I have 2 of them. So this is the one that goes in the house.
That's one political sign that you're probably not going to have to worry about getting damaged or anything.
Probably stolen.
Maybe stolen.
That's the reason why I bought 2. The other thing is you can see I'm wearing this shirt here. So you've heard me mention about checking out Dallas Vintage Toys. That's here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So this is one of their shirts that they made.
I like it.
So I bought this shirt.
Actually awesome, yeah.
And they actually have a version of this shirt that mimics Thundercats. They have one that mimics Voltron.
Yeah.
And some other things I can't remember because I was like, which one do I want? Which one do I want? And I was like, I'll take the G.I. Joe one because it that's me. But yeah, for my birthday, I bought too much ish. Too much ish. Other than using some of that money to, basic things for the car, things that you have to do, to get along in society. But went to Dallas Vintage Toys, and let me reach down here. Let's see. First, this year, the 2020 has really sucked, and we lost some really good people. So
we sure did.
I've been buying everything with Chadwick Boseman.
Wow.
And Eddie Van Halen.
Oh, nice.
So if if some of you are friends with me
That's a
on,
great photo.
yeah,
That's a great photo.
I love this photo. So if any of you are friends with me on Facebook, you know that I did one of my Inktober
You did a piece.
pictures was this picture right here.
Yeah.
So so there's that, and bought a book on origami.
Oh my God. Wow.
This is standing.
That's out of left field.
Yeah, this is standing in the checkout line at Winco, the grocery store. I was like, gotta have it.
Gotta have some origami.
Yeah. So I've already featured this once before. And this is where I started spending way too much money. But I showed this a few weeks ago that I got, one of the new G.I. Joe action figures. The first one I saw was Roadblock.
Right.
So went out to 2 toy stores this weekend. So I went out to Dallas Vintage, and I'm not even going to show it because it's one of the 25th anniversary G.I. Joe action figures, and it's a measly little Cobra officer.
Right.
But I went over to Empire Toys, which is my second favorite place, which is right down the road from me, and they had Duke.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
And from Amazon, I got
that's cool.
Scarlet. And then also
Mike agrees that's cool.
Yeah. Another one from Empire Toys. Destro.
Oh, nice.
So we got Destro.
Man, these are
here.
nice.
Yeah. And we'll get to the really cool ones here. So
there better be Snake Eyes in a storm shadow in there, buddy.
I missed out on the ultra fine, big $30 with the whole cool set with all the weapons and everything and the stand and all that stuff. But I did find the regular issue of Snake Eyes.
Yeah, buddy.
That is sweet.
So half the price of what the price was for the pre-order of the really good Show M Fine one, which is now $184 anyplace else.
Oh my God.
Yes. And finally, bam!
Oh, nice.
Cobra Commander. My boy.
That is
there you
cool.
Go.
I'm telling you, if you really want to follow somebody with some funny tweets on Twitter, look up Cobra Commander. So and I'm pretty sure he's going hog wild tonight, because we all know what tonight is.
Right.
It's definitely not the Backstreet Boys reunion tour.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure he's got some funny tweets going on tonight there. But that's what I've consumed. In addition to that, Lovecraft.
Before you move on, let's get. There's so many comments on what you're talking about. There's no way you could have known. Let's see. Jerry says you can never buy too much for your own birthday.
Oh well,
I agree with that. Steve says you better not have bought. Right, you better not have bought my Knight Rider pop, buddy.
I'm leaving that for you, buddy.
Scott says, I think I am Bazooka and Walt is my Alpine. He will understand.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Ronnie says, well, hell, Walt, save something for the rest of us, man.
Oh, man.
Jim says, I'll bet DVT really appreciates you giving them a huge plug on the show.
I hope they do. I hope they do.
This is about the third time or fourth that you've mentioned them. They should give you. Give you something for free.
I always mention them and Empire Toys because those are my 2 favorite places to go.
Well, you got to keep them open, man.
And since Empire is like I said is to and from work for me. Dallas Vintage Toys, on the other hand, is like, okay, let's go on a journey, and it's basically like Lord of the Rings. Let's get the group together and let's go on a quest to Dallas Vintage Toys, which you all would love because their high end room with like all the high dollar toys.
Yeah,
the entrance to that room is Castle Grayskull.
Oh man,
that's pretty cool.
It's Castle Grayskull, and it's a really nice place. So.
Hey, Walt, walk in there and talk to the owner and ask him if he'd be okay if you did some video of the place and maybe interviewed him, and we'll put it on the channel.
You know what? I will do that. In fact, I actually offered the same thing to Empire Toys. I told them, hey, you got to get a shirt in my size. You don't have a shirt in my size.
Right.
And I said, because
you don't have a shirt in your size?
They don't have a shirt in my size.
Come on, man. I mean, I have a hard time finding shirts. You shouldn't have that much trouble.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, there I did, you know. So I really want to get one of their shirts and wear it on here because those guys are really cool. In fact, when I went there, they were like, "Want a beer?" No, I'm fine, cool, not driving. So, but yeah, their big thing is this. So you have Funko Pops. Yeah. They have a Funko Pop room.
Yeah,
and it's nothing but Funko Pops, and that's why Steve was telling me you better not have bought that. That I better not have bought that Knight Rider Funko Pop. So, but yeah. Those are like I said, my two favorite stores down here. There are actually, if you're ever in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there are so many classic toy stores here. So many. Really? I can't even name them all. There's one that's nothing but Star Wars. So if you're looking for Star Wars things, Holocron toys, you have to go there. They have a website. They're the ones that have a Millennium Falcon Toys R Us display.
Oh, come on, man! Don't do this to me.
Yeah,
I live in Chicago, man. I ain't got
yeah, one of 700, and this one is in pristine shape. They say it's not for sale unless you're willing to pay how much it's worth, and I'm not even going to go that far. I'm not even going to mention that.
Yeah. Well, that basically means if you're someone who has to check your balance on a weekly basis, you can't afford it.
You can't afford it. You can't afford it. That's why I'm not even going to mention it, because I know how much it's worth, and I'm not even going to mention it. But that's a nice store to visit. There's, like I said, there's a couple of others.
Steve like I said, chiming in with Order 66 toys.
There's Order 66 toys. Yeah.
Man, that's inside naming there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just so many. I mean, there's you know, if there's a suburb of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there's a toy store.
Wow.
For you. Just there. It, like I said, there's one that's horror related. So Sean, I'll get you the name for that one. I'll get you the name for that one. And that one shares a store, shares area with a classic toy store, a classic video game, arcade game area, a classic music, and it's just, yeah, they just decided we're just going to call ourselves like a classic store collective shop. So
Scott says Scarlet Rocks, damn you, Walt, Cobra Commander.
Hey, that's how I roll, dude. That's how I roll.
Marianne says there's been a lot of really cool collectible figures this year. So far, it's pretty nice.
Yes.
Scott again says, well done, Walt. He wants to know if is DVT a sister store to DW's on the border?
No. And no.
That is no longer. That DW's is no longer.
No, DW's is still there. It's TK's that's gone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Pardon me.
Dude.
Mind out of the gutter.
Sorry. Jim says, sounds like a road trip, guys. Ronnie concurs.
Yeah, I mean, like you can make a whole weekend out of it since the conventions have been put on hold down here.
Yeah, everywhere.
Those are the places to go.
That's cool. All right, is that it, Walt?
That's it. That's it. Unless there's something else you want me to.
Just shy of 46 minutes. All right, G, we're going to you next.
Right. So is this fill me in on this segment here? Is there stuff you've bought, stuff you've watched?
Just something you want to
read, you know,
just something that you're doing right now, like if you're watching a show or you're playing a game that you want to talk about, you want people to know about. Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, since I brought this up, we play our D&D every Tuesday, and we do it online. But I like having a real dice and everything. So I did go to a little shop by me, and I got a dice tower
so it can roll better.
Oh wow!
Oh, cool.
I did get I love these dice that I got here too. If the camera will focus, there we go.
Ooh, those are
Oh,
like
oh,
Joker
thank you.
dice.
Yeah, I mean I have the whole set for each color, the vortex and the metallic ones, but those are pretty cool to look at.
I love
did get-
those.
I didn't paint it because my eyesight sucks and my hands are too shaky to paint anything. But I got my tiefling
Oh wow, that is cool.
for
Nice.
the game.
That looks great.
The box, it's from a website called Dragon Burn Designs. But it's real wood, and you could choose like what type of wood you want. They have like 3 or 4 choices, and they have a ton of choices for the engraving and burning.
Nice.
Very nice.
Cool.
You can have your name put on it and everything if you want or whatever.
Scott
and
is
then-
all about the dice towers.
Right. Now, I want to
Oh,
get a dice
beautiful.
tower from them. That one I just bought just spurred a moment because I wanted something. But they actually have a catapult that goes on
is-
the side, and you pull it.
Come on.
And I swear to God,
Oh, that's awesome.
That is
That's
hilarious.
awesome.
Where did you get that? Where did you get the box from?
Dragon Burn Designs.
That is nice.
.com.
That is very cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ronnie's
And
all
usually-
about it too. Look at him. Look at Ronnie. He says, "Oh, I'm making one."
Yeah. Like I said, just all one word, dragonburndesigns.com.
Very cool.
And they're cool people. They're pretty active on Twitter. They're a small mom and pop shop kind of deal.
Yeah.
The kind of stuff you'd see on Etsy. You know what I mean? Pretty much. But they have the shop up, and artisan stuff like this is worth it for me. It's worth the price that I pay for it because it's just really cool. But I want to get that catapult.
These are
yeah.
very nice.
Yeah. So that was my latest purchase for the gaming we're doing with
Cool.
the D&D and stuff. I got these a while ago, but I am pretty proud of the fact that I got not just Pops, but I also liked the Star Wars Black series, and I got Darth Revan
Oh, that is awesome.
for the Black series. Which is
I
really
love
cool
that
for
Black
this.
Series stuff. That is insanely awesome. Oh man,
That's
Yeah.
that's cool.
that is
So they did
super
him really
cool.
good. I'd love to see him in Star Wars. Don't start out with animated. Give me like a live action right away with him. I need
Yeah,
live
yeah.
action Revan like now.
Yeah.
Hey, we're getting Ahsoka, so I
We
mean,
are.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
been a
yeah.
long road.
I predicted that. No, my very first upload, matter of fact, for my channel in November last year was Ahsoka
funny.
going to be in The Mandalorian?
Oh wow.
So I'm like, I know she's going to be on there. It's all tied together. There's no way they can't have her on there. She is. And I don't want to spoil if anyone's seen it, but big deal at the end of episode 1.
Oh
this
yeah.
season for
I
Mandalorian.
watched it last night.
Yes, sir.
That was
You
cool.
have spoken. You have spoken.
Yes.
Yes.
This is the way.
Yep. Yep. So that's what I'm gonna watch too. Obviously, The Mandalorian, because I'm gonna be covering that like crazy.
Right.
Doing that, and then just having the channel. Most of my time is literally streaming, and then
That's
trying to
okay.
watch stuff that I'm going to be talking about when I stream. So there's been that, and like I said, Sundays we do game though. So I've been playing Among Us, which is this really silly game. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. You can play it on mobile, pre-C, or whatever, and it's crossplay. And you're like these little dudes that are you're running around trying to fix a ship, and one person is an imposter, and they're basically killing everybody off. And so when a person dies, they can't talk, and then someone sets an alarm off, and then you try to figure out like Clue, like who's the suspect.
Oh, okay.
And you eject people out in space, and then we do it funny because
That
my
sounds
friends,
awesome.
right? Now you're not supposed to talk during this, right? It's all supposed to be text chat, and you only could text in the meeting when there's a meeting. When you guys are just running around, you can't interact, right? Well, me and my friends, it's hilarious. We turn on Discord and I stream it with all of us talking and yelling while we're playing. we just have a rule that if you die, don't make the sound or something like that, because you'll tip
Right.
us off you died, and don't reveal stuff that you're not supposed to. But we talk crap
Right.
the whole time, and it's hilarious. It's hilariously fun. The other one is Dead by Daylight, which is like a horror game. You could be different monsters. There's monsters that was created by the game, and then they use also movie monsters. Freddy's in there, and stuff like
that's
that.
cool.
Michael Myers, and you could play as 4 survivors being chased by a killer, and that's what we do too. And it's funny because when it jumps up on you, it scares you. And my one friend John screams like a little kid. It's fun when we stream that. So that's basically what I've been doing, and obviously trying to fulfill
That's
this,
awesome.
getting ready to fulfill this comic book.
Yeah, like actually working. Also,
Right? Yeah.
Scott says that his kids love Among Us.
Yeah.
It sounds
It's funny.
Sounds
It's
like
funny.
a lot of fun.
Oh, it is. Especially when it's a bunch of you. If you could play just all friends and you're in a voice chat, you just all
Right.
accusing each other, yelling at each other. Say,
Right.
no, it's you. It's not me. It's you.
Very cool. All right, Sean, you're up next, man.
I've been doing a lot of work, so I haven't had a whole lot of time to sit and read or play video games, although because I can't help but play video games on occasion or watch movies. I sat and watched a Shudder original series called Cursed Films that 5 30-minute episodes that explores various supposed curses that have afflicted Hollywood films. And the list, they talked about The Exorcist, The Omen, The Crow, Twilight Zone, the movie. What was the other one?
I think was there 5?
There's 5.
The Exorcist, The Omen,
The Exorcist,
The Crow,
The Crow.
Twilight
The Crow
Zone.
and Twilight Zone. Crow and Twilight Zone were the last 2. The first 2 were The Exorcist and Omen. What was that other one? Oh, Poltergeist.
Oh yes.
And really great insights. Really, really great talking to, the directors, the producers, crew members, what have you. Not real scary, but a
Marion
great
says Poltergeist.
Behind the scenes as to
Mike Kennedy says sound interesting.
what were depicted as curses. Were they really, or were they just coincidences that occurred, and there's really nothing to them. It was a great series. Like it says, 5 episodes. I hope they do more, but so far just the 5, and it was really great. Really great show. The other thing I mentioned was I play video games on occasion, and one in particular that I played was a side scroller.
I love side scrollers.
And this one in particular, I really can't put my finger on it. It's so simplistic in its approach that it's just fun. It's just silly fun. I just enjoy it way too much. It's called The Final Station. I am an Xbox console owner, so I play on Xbox Live, but I believe this is also available on Steam and what have you. It's just a fun little game where you're operating a train, trying to get people from point A to point B, and avoid every time you come into a station, you've got to pick up supplies, you've got to take care of the people that you're trying to transport, and all the while trying to keep the hordes of zombies from attacking you and killing everybody. I mean, it was just a lot of fun.
I knew, for some reason, I knew zombies would be involved.
Well, I say zombies, but they're not really like, they're just, it's just like a shadow figure with eyeballs, and they just, it's really kind of odd. I mean, it's nothing graphic, nothing
just
nothing
basic 80s style side scroll shooters.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of fun. Anyway, in between doing the work, you got to take a break every now and again, and these are the things that occupied my time.
Awesome.
All right. Cool stuff, man. All right. I have been reading something which I'm going to step on this name here, but I'm going to hold the comic up. It's called We Only Find Them When They're Dead. It is from Boom Studios. And if you look at the artwork, you can see how colorful it is.
That cover was awesome.
It's insanely colorful. As an artist, I always like to look at comics and try to pick apart kind of what they're doing, trying to figure out what their method is and how they're putting it together. I don't know how this artist is doing this. The artist is let's see, where is it? Simone DeMeo, and it's written by Al Ewing. They have 2 issues. Here's the second issue, which doesn't even have, there's nothing on the cover. It's just that cover. That's obviously an alternate cover. So I've read 2 issues of this thing so far, and not only does it have kind of an anime title to it, it has a anime feel to it. Basically, the premise of this thing is that there's this small ship that they call a scalpel ship that goes and finds these, what they're calling gods, who are dead and huge, and they cut up these gods and then use them for resources. And they don't really know where they come from or anything. And there's a lot of intrigue with like a company that's, keeping track of this sort of thing. And then they only find them when they're dead. But this crew, the guy who is the captain or whatever, has said that he knows how to find one that's alive. And so he's going to try to go find this alive god. And we're through two issues. It's very unusual mood in this thing. They have some interesting characters. Since it's just this small ship, they're interacting with each other. You can see the artwork. The artwork is insanely good, but the story is also very interesting. And it's also very clear that they have a lot that they are going to do with this story. They haven't been on a planet or anything so far. Everything has been on the ship and out in space. So it's very unusual, and I like it a lot. And so if you're intrigued by the artwork, then pick it up by all means. But I think that the story is going to compel you to pick up other issues as well. And help me figure out what the heck that artist is doing too, because he's awesome. He or she is awesome. Oh, here we go. Scott says the artist is doing Marvel's Champions #1. I got to see that too. If that Simon DeMeo, he says great comic. Derek was going to review it, but it came too late. And
I'm like looking at some of the artwork right now.
Ronnie says I can tell you how they are doing it. You can find them when they're dead comic book art, Dirk. It's all done with horsehair brushes and pixie dust. It's like it's painted, but it's also very clear to me that they're using some digital stuff, like they're modeling those ships and then they're popping those ships into the narrative. And they also have things like heads up displays and stuff that are clearly also modeled, and then they can move those around and make those part of the artwork. And the colors are amazing on this thing. I am very much into figuring out color right now, and this artist is so on it with color. It's just really beautiful stuff. So that's my thing. Does anyone else have anything that they want to add?
Oh, one last thing. I watched the Hellstrom series on Hulu.
Oh, tell us. What do you think?
It's pretty good. I mean, it's no Lovecraft Country, but it's good. I enjoyed it. I'm ready for season 2.
So they're already through the first season.
Yeah, they unloaded all 10 episodes.
That's the way I like it.
Instead of running them,
give it to me
once a week. So yeah,
you start those where?
I don't know.
On Hulu.
Like, dude, I'm loving the fact that Mandalorian is once a week.
Same here.
Because then you can talk about it.
Right.
Just like in the old days.
Right.
Yeah.
And it gives you more of an event feel. I mean, that's what happened with Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
You had to wait for each week for each, and maybe it was sold.
Hey, since we've got a fellow Star Wars fan here, have you heard all of the stuff about Pedro Pascal and maybe walking away around episode 5? Do you think that's junk? You don't think that happened?
But now, listen. The truth
We're going to find out in 5 episodes.
he did kind of come out and say no in an interview recently, without saying it. But he's like, no, most likely happened is it was probably on a particular episode, he maybe thought, hey, it'd be better if my face is shown here. And maybe they had a tiff, and then he went to his locker and slammed his trailer and slammed his trailer door. And then they came afterwards, and then they made up, and they were fine. Maybe something like that happened. But all that nonsense of him walking off the set and all that, it's all garbage. None of that happened.
I really can't imagine him walking away from this sweet gig that he has.
No.
Like I said, this is one case where you can have a hit television series, and because he's wearing that mask throughout the whole thing, he still has a fresh face. He doesn't have the curse of being in a big, science fiction television show and never being able to, have a career beyond that because you're associated with that character. He, you see him a couple of times, but he could still be 100 other characters, and you'd never automatically associate him with being the Mandalorian. It's too sweet a gig to walk away from it. I can't imagine. Yeah.
You can put prosthetics all over my face and body,
please,
as long as I'm in a
prosthetic
Star Wars
me.
Did you see Colin Farrell as the Penguin in those?
Yeah.
Dude,
That's a lot of prosthetics.
He's unrecognizable.
Yeah. That's almost like Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder. It was like,
that's a good
wait
point.
a minute. It's like, wait a minute, that's Tom Cruise as the old guy?
I remember watching that in the theater and being like, I know that voice.
Yeah.
I know that voice.
Yeah.
Something's just not right.
Right.
Oh, Jesus.
Ronnie assures me that it's horsehair. Scott's plugging his Last Ronin. By the way, it's getting really good hits over there. You guys ought to go check it out. He did a review of The Last Ronin, and he'll do a review of your comic too if you send it to us.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I was going to put it
hint.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I was going to put out a PO box, but I didn't put it together for this episode. But yeah, if you're interested, we'll review stuff, and we'll also interview you. We'd love to do that. So anyway, there it is. Basically, if you go to Taskforce Geek on YouTube, you will find him under Prime Reviews. It's a good review. It's getting good hits. Ronnie says, best show so far, in my opinion, guys. I absolutely loved you guys and the guest.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ronnie. Wait a minute. Last Runner was really good. I liked it a lot. I bought it today. I have not read it yet.
I want to read it. I haven't read it yet either.
I'd like to read it too. I think I'm going to buy it.
I wanted to read the Three Jokers series, and I got so impatient I didn't read them, and I watched a review, and I'm like, damn it, I shouldn't have.
So you ruined it for yourself. Yeah, I'd like to read that too. Scott said that was pretty good, by the way. He reviewed that as well. How about that? All right, it's promo time. All right, list it out, guys. Give us your links. Tell us where to find you. And first, I will go to our guest.
Thank you. The channel, like I said, you heard I'm there every day. It's just youtube.com/The Gray Console.
There you go.
That's for the YouTube
I covered
channel.
You up again.
No, I raised it up higher. I went higher.
There you go. And let me say this: you guys are doing cool stuff on there. People should go check you out and subscribe. We beg people to subscribe to us here. Go subscribe to GA's show. It's well worth your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we have a good time with it too, and we try to be very interactive with all the guys. Now it's not as PG as this show is, just so you know. But
right,
if you can get through that, you'll be fine. But so yeah, I have the Great Council. Obviously, I have my author stuff. GALungaro.com is my main website for my author stuff. I did make a Rubicon Comics website, which is rubiconcomics.com.
There we go. We got that one.
The main link, though, right now is the one that he was showing earlier. It's too long of a link to read, but it's the Backer Kit.
There it is.
Pre-order store for Isidore and Immortal Chains. Basically, anything from all the variant covers, prints, items that were part of the Kickstarter, you can actually go there and buy it. And if you want to read the book, the novel, Souls and Magic's Dawn, the fantasy novel, it is up there for a discounted price than you would get it on Amazon. So you can get the book, anything with the comic books. I even have, I'll show you real quick. I have some of the physical items here. This is the collector's box for it.
Oh man.
For people who buy the collector's
that
box.
That is nice.
Yeah, and if they just want the box, You can buy this separately too, a la carte on there. So,
Cool.
but yeah, there's the collector's box, and there's all the different stuff that goes in there. And I also had
That
a
is
collector coin made.
Oh.
That's the
Of
yellow
the
yellow
symbol
sign.
that's in the deal. Yeah.
Right,
Okay,
the yellow
that's
sign on one side, and then the Rubicon Comics logo
Dude.
on the other.
Very cool.
So
That
it's,
is
awesome.
it's a thick, heavy metal coin. Now it's not a precious metals, but
That's a challenge coin. isn't
That-
it?
You're right.
Yeah,
That
challenge
I was
coin,
getting ready to
exactly.
say the same thing. Challenge coin.
Oh
what it is.
man, I like that. That is top notch.
yeah. So those are two of the little items. There's T-shirts. There's the comic books themselves, prints, anything you could think of involving the comic book, and my novel as well is on there.
Very cool. I also want to mention on Twitter, Comics
Yes,
Rubicon.
yeah, right. Twitter, that one I forgot because I just made that Twitter like a week or so
I
ago.
got you.
But yeah,
I got
that's
you.
the official Twitter for Rubicon Comics. I'm gonna be trying to put more of that stuff on there. I have a Twitter for my YouTube channel too, and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's the one for the comic books. I'll be putting anything involving the comic books on there.
Very cool. Walt, you're up next, man.
Not much other than my Twitch channel. One of the things that I didn't mention that I got was I finally got the PlayStation webcam. So now you can see me yell out expletives when the Brazilian guys hunt me off the racetrack in Gran Turismo.
Those Brazilians.
But yeah, I'm spending a little bit more time on that now. Playing and which Dirk, you saw me play. I've been playing the
I did, yeah.
Transformers game on there.
Yeah, that looked fun.
It's a very fun game, and I'll say for Sean, that game has every version type of gameplay you've ever played. So there's first person, there's side scrolling, there's all that kind of stuff in there as well. So I'll let you guys know whenever I'm playing Transformers on there again. So, but yeah, that's me.
Dude,
That's where
that thing looked awesome.
It's a fun game, dude. It's like the game you mentioned. You play it and you're like, I'm just having fun. You know, it's cheesy gameplay. You know, it's like you're playing an old Transformers cartoon episode. I mean, that's how fun it is.
Have you seen that G.I. Joe one that's come out or is about to come out or something like that?
Haven't seen that one. First thing I'm going to do when we're off the air is I'm going to Google that.
I think I posted to Taskforce Geek. I think I posted a trailer for that, but just in case, Google that and see what you think.
I will do that.
Scott is telling us that if people send comics to review, I will be honest. Been a few I wanted to review, but decided not to be mean and honest, so I skipped them. I've done that too.
It happens. I mean,
It's like if I don't like it,
You can't grow if you don't get honesty.
Well, that's true, but you could send the honesty to them personally and not trash them publicly.
Yeah.
Well, that's all fun.
Also, Scott says, Walt, you're going to have to get the second printing of Last Ronin sold out everywhere.
Hey, I'm fine with that. I'm all about
Hey, you
the
just want to
story.
read it.
I'm all about the story, not the future value.
Yeah, me too. I'm long past that. All right, let's go to Sean.
Like I said earlier, I've been working on a lot of stuff over the past week. Working on doing a little bit of writing, working on doing some illustration, and that's pretty much it. Nothing really to push just yet, other than go check out rankingstudios.com and feel free to contact us at info@rankingstudios.com. Let us know what you think.
It's good.
Let us know what you like, what you'd like to see from us. Also, feel free to check out Facebook/Ranking Studios and drop us a line there as well. I will say, because we've been hit by bots, that there is a store on the rankingstudios.com site. None of it is active. Don't order anything because I'm not charging nothing. And I have no way to charge you, and I have no supplies to send you. But it's a work in progress. We're trying to get everything up and running, and eventually it'll be a place where you can find our merchandise and what have you. But don't buy nothing right now. It don't work. But send us all the mail that you want.
Yeah, info at rankingstudios.com.
Info at rankingstudios.com. Or you can get a hold of me personally, Sean at rankingstudios.com.
There you go.
I'll answer whatever questions you got.
All right. This is the way.
You have spoken.
I have spoken.
I've spoken.
All right. Go to my Twitter address right there. It's Dark Hooper Plus. You spell out the plus on there. We are broadcasting live from that tonight, and I share all of the comics and stories and other people's stuff, a lot of other comic book stuff. What I've been amazed at is how active the Twitter comic book community is. And so I want in on that. And please follow me there and tag me or poke me on there or something. I'll be glad to share your stuff too. I really want to get in on that. And if you're interested in my artwork, go to Dark Hooper Artworks on Facebook. I'm posting stuff there. I haven't posted anything lately because I've been busy too. And you could also go to rankingstudios.com because I'm on there as well. That's it, folks. What else we got? We're wrapping it up. It's time to bring it home. Does anyone have any other things to say? Any comments from the crowd?
As they say, take it to the bridge.
Take it to the bridge. Oh, and as far as the Isadora stuff, originally it's going to stay open until November 30th, but I'm actually considering it closing a little sooner.
Okay.
So
don't wait.
Yeah, you got like a week or two maybe.
All right.
I wouldn't wait. Sit on it for too long because once it closes, then it's closed.
Awesome. Yeah, and it's worth it. I read it today. It's cool. It's really, especially if you like. I heard some time ago that there are 3 things that are big on Kickstarter. One is horror comics. One is like kind of attractive girl comics, and Lovecraft comics as its own thing, not horror, but Lovecraft. And it has all of that. So
I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea when I made this comic book that was the trend.
You hit the trifecta on that one, I think.
Yes.
So good. Well done. Scott says, open those toys, Walt. No value in them. He wants to see those out of the bag.
Hey, I've already got so many drawing projects because of these that I've got going, because I've always wanted to do a couple of 8-page G.I. Joe short stories.
Oh.
So I've got a few up here in the noggin. So
GA, thanks for being on the show.
No, thank you for having me.
You're a great guest.
I appreciate it.
yeah, it's good meeting
we
you.
sincerely want you to be on here, when you want.
Just send me, like I said, if there's anything specific, just send me a link on Twitter. If I'm available, I'll definitely hop in. Same thing on my channel. If you want to come on, let me know. If you see us midstream and there's something you want to talk about, say, hey, send me a link in the chat, and I'll send you a link.
All right, I will do that. I will do that for sure. And thanks to the panel for Walt for stepping in at the last minute.
Hey, anytime.
We appreciate that, filling in for Scott and Sean for all of the great stuff he does and putting up all the things that he does. Thanks to everyone.
Pleasure meeting you guys.
Yeah,
you too, man.
I knew that the guys would like you. Please leave a like and share wherever you see this. It makes such a huge difference. Seriously, help us out and subscribe and share this. That's really the best thing that I can say right now. So for Sean, for Walt, and for GA, this is Dark Hooper saying dream hard.